Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post. Our next guest has been known to lay the SmackDown. Naomi is one of the WWE's biggest superstars. She made a name for herself in and out of the ring as the first African American to win a WWE SmackDown title. It's my honor to welcome Naomi to the show.
Hello, that was a hell of an intro.
You killing it out here in these streets, so I had to represent. I'm just jealous I haven't been able to come support you guys in person, but I definitely would. I had Titus O'Neil on the program previously also.
Oh, that's my boy right there.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
really good dude. And like you're a WWE superstar, as I mentioned, born and raised in Florida, where many wrestling superstars have been made. What was it like growing up, and when did you develop your interest in WWE?
Growing up in Florida, I come from a huge family, really big family, country living, Southern life. Started entertainment at 8 years old, started dancing. My dad put me in dance, and I danced tap, jazz, ballet, lyrical, modern, hip hop, all the way up to the age of 18. And then from there, I became an Orlando Magic dancer. Did that for a few years. That was awesome. I cheered from 2007 to 2009 seasons, and also got to be a part of the Duncan Dancers team. We were like one of the first teams to do the where the dancers, dunk the ball. Had a great experience. Got to travel doing that.
Dope.
Yeah, and then from there is when I saw my first wrestling show, and I got the wrestling bug. Never watched wrestling growing up. Never knew much about it. And I seen the women perform, and I was like, oh my gosh, and my mind was blown. I was like, women can do this? I was like, I want to do that. And just luckily, the developmental at the time where you had to try out was in Tampa, which was only like an hour and 45-minute drive. So did my research, talked to a couple people, and got myself a tryout in Tampa. Went to the tryout, passed the tryout, and got myself a developmental contract, and everything has just been going from there. And 12 years later, I'm still here.
Well, you're definitely doing your thing. I retired from the NBA in 2007, and I heard you were cheering with the Magic from 2007 to 2009. So let's rewind some of those years. Like, when did you get into it? Like, are you a basketball fan? Who was on the team? Like, what was some of your favorite routines?
It was such a different time back then, especially seeing how the games are now. Like, they don't even have the dancers anymore. They don't officially have the dance team, that was heartbreaking because it was such a big deal in the community when we would have the tryouts, and like everything, the work that we did in the community. Like, so I feel very like blessed to have come in at the time that I did, and I got to experience that. I am still a basketball fan. And I'm trying to think who was there. Dwight was there at the time I was there. We had a pretty dope team. 2007, 2009, and in 2009 we actually went to the playoffs against the Lakers. So we got to
the
fly.
Finals.
Yeah, the finals. Yes.
Yes.
We went to the finals.
Balling. Stan Van Gundy was you guys' coach. Y'all had Hito Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis. They were on the team. Y'all were balling.
Yes, we was fire. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, if we win, I didn't know. I found out like the dancers get rings too. I was like, oh snap. My last year, I could possibly have a ring. And I remember just like going over to LA, and we got swept, man. But it was such a great experience. To this day, I'm like, I should have a championship ring on my finger, right?
Absolutely. Well, y'all won the Eastern Conference Championship. That does count for something.
It do.
Yes.
That's why I ride with Magic. Like I ride. Like you gotta be with them when they ain't doing so good, and you also gotta ride with them because they're gonna come back. They're gonna bring it back. I got faith.
No doubt. Representing your team. They got some really good young players that I'm rooting for as
Yeah.
well. Jalen Suggs and Cole
Yeah.
Anthony. So they're building something. How has dance influenced you in wrestling?
It's taught me so much, like being a part of a dance team and at such a young age. It teaches you how to be very disciplined at a young age, traveling, going to the different dance competitions, being around such a diverse group of women and people. It teaches you great social skills, and just athletically being able to incorporate things that I've learned in dance into wrestling, that just happened so naturally and easy for me. In dance, you have to memorize a lot of choreography, and in wrestling, it's kind of like a dance in a way. When you're in there, you know, fighting with someone, it's two people in there really working together and using your bodies together and having to trust each other in there. So like, I feel like it was just a natural transition for me, an easy transition, although the two are like very different.
Mm-hmm. Great feet, great footwork for sure.
Yeah,
And good
thanks.
with your hands and work with
Hmm.
the team. And as you mentioned, the choreography of it. And in
Hmm.
2021, we've seen a lot of ceilings be broken for women in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenge you still face as a black woman in the world of wrestling?
I think just in general, still trying to fight for the TV time. Um,
Nice.
Getting
Good one.
matches that are longer
Yes.
than two
Mm-hmm.
minutes. And although you're thankful because there's still like so many women that aren't even getting the TV time, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I got 2 minutes. At least I got that. I got 2 minutes to show and prove and get people behind me. But you want more. You need more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To develop those stories and those characters, and just um, the writing. Challenging the writing and what they have for me creatively, and going outside the box of the stereotypical characters, and also pushing myself creatively to inspire and also give the fans what they want and need from me. And just continue to grow and evolve creatively as a character and entertainer. It's very challenging.
That's the perfect answer. And I saw this happen as we spent from your Orlando Magic with the WNBA. For so many years, they were minimized with their television time, and people
Hmm.
tried to assume that because they weren't being more visible, it wasn't because there wasn't interest. And then all of a sudden, they started being on more nationally televised games, and people started to fall in love with the game, and their ratings have been higher than ever. I anticipate that happening with you as well.
Absolutely. That opportunity has to be there. And I realize whenever the women in our industry are given that opportunity, they knock it out the park every time. But it can't just be sporadically. It needs to be consistent. So that's what myself and so many, all of us, are like still pushing for and fighting for each day, each week.
Well, I'm a huge fan of yours, the WWE, along with my Griselda brother, Westside Gun. We promise to come and support you and sit front row. And I have a couple of numbers of people in my phone that you may know that I'm really close with. One is Jamie Horowitz, and two is Nick Khan. And I'm going to reach out to both of them and tell them exactly what we talked about here, because what you're saying is true. And for
Yeah.
you became the first black woman to win the SmackDown title, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like, and how much has it changed your career?
Man, that was mind blowing, because at the time I hadn't even I had been here for so many years, and I had just been just grinding so hard and just so focused. It took me 6 years to
Mm,
get my first championship. So
mm,
all of that was on my mind, was just getting a championship. I hadn't even realized that no black woman had ever even held it. I didn't even realize that I had made history when it
mm.
happened until after the fact. So I thought that was just a very special touching, fulfilling, rewarding experience. And since then, women have continued to make history. We had our two Black females, Bianca and Sasha Banks. They made history headlining WrestleMania as the first two African-American women. But there's still so much more history to still be made as women and as Black women in this industry. And I'm just looking forward to continuing to break those glass ceilings and make history and accomplish more.
You're definitely doing it. And in my own way, I try to have my own personality and flavor in sports and entertainment, but maintaining my integrity, but also representing our culture. So you might turn on TV and see me with an afro and a pick in my head with a fist in it, or a picture of Harriet Tubman over my shoulder. And you do that with the glow.
Yes.
It's a full experience. Afros, neons, flying elbow drops. Can you explain the glow and how you came up with the concept?
So the glow is a metaphor. The whole concept just came up from just a hard time that I was going through in my career, and like not believing in myself and having a lot of self-doubt, and also dealing with like so much input from social media that we have nowadays with like Twitter and stuff. So like the fans really let you have it. You experience the good and the bad. And it was important for me to not let so much of that dictate who I was and who I was becoming as a performer. So I just started to like talk to myself more positively. And it was when I really started believing in myself is when I started to see things turn around. So the whole glow concept is just about believing in yourself, being positive, and having confidence and shining bright, finding the light in those dark moments and dark times in your life, no matter what. And then I was like, man, it'd be cool if I could physically express the glow and show it. So that's where all of the aesthetics came in, and I wanted to glow and I wanted to wear neon, and like I love bright colors. I love that naturally. So it's just all these elements and things about myself all kind of came together into this character, and something that really just started out to elevate myself and lift me up. But I realized that it kind of became like a movement and something that helped so many other people. And so I stuck with it and I live by it. It's not just a character. It's not a gimmick. Like I really believe in the positivity and you speaking to yourself a certain way and giving yourself positive thoughts, like feeding all of that good energy, staying away from the negative, staying away from just bad entities and bad energy, and like associating yourself around good things and good people, keeping your mind focused, and like no matter what, just shining through those dark times.
I appreciate that vulnerability and humility, because what ends up happening is people assume when you get famous, when you start to get paid, when you have some success, that you're not overcoming turbulence.
Ooh, that's when it gets the worst, like the hardest, I feel like.
Correct. And so tell me, as you've encountered this journey, social media, in and out of the ring, what was it like for you? Give me an example of something that you overcame that you now want to encourage somebody else that's looking at you, that's a fan of yours, that'll give them the strength that they can too.
I would definitely say I just had to overcome like my own insecurities as a performer. Our WWE universe is such a huge part in the fans and the audience of what we do. Like it literally makes us. So they do have a lot of input and they do have a lot of say. And now with social media, people can directly contact you and tell you everything that they like or don't like about you. And so Twitter was just like a new thing when I first started in 2009. There wasn't even an Instagram. So now fast forward, 12 years down the road, and you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got Snapchat, you got you have all these different medias of opinions just coming at you constantly. And if you don't know how to filter that and balance that and control that, it could really affect you negatively. And it was doing that to me because I care so much about my craft and what I do. So when I would see bad things, I was like, okay, I don't need to do that. They don't like that. I shouldn't do that. But then it was changing the way I perform. And that's not what got me here. What got me here is trusting myself, knowing what I'm good at, and believing in myself. So like I learned how to channel that, how to balance that, and how to cope with like social media. Nowadays, I think it's so important, and I think like it's something that isn't really talked about a lot. You kind of need it because it's a way to connect, and it's like a part of our career. But you also have to know how to shut it down and filter it, and not let it literally like destroy you. You know what I mean? So I would just say like, be confident and secure in yourself, and just know that it's okay if you don't have everyone's approval, and if everyone isn't behind you, and if everyone doesn't accept you, because sometimes it's okay to not be for everybody. And I learned that.
Work and do what you love. And then the other thing is, a lot of times, almost like sports, sometimes people with social media accounts have an agenda. That could be your competition. That could be somebody that works on their team. That could be somebody from another network. Like a lot of times, those don't be real accounts.
No.
Right. So we're consuming like negative energy and thoughts a lot of times because it's written. And so you have to learn, and I had to teach myself this. Social media is an application on my phone. It's not my actual phone. I can't hold this thing in my hand 50 times a day and keep going back and forth to IG. I just can't keep doing that. That's not healthy.
It's not. It's not.
So how do you balance that? Because I know you need to send tweets and promote things for advertisers and endorsers and sponsors and engage with the fans.
Yeah, my husband wrestles as well. So we both just give each other those shut off times. Like when we're on the road and we're working, it's cool. But once we get to the hotel together, it's done. Once we get home on our days off, shut it down. By 9:00 at night, put our phones down. When we're at the dinner table with our family, put it down. Also, I have 2 stepkids, and they're 13 and 15. So they're we're having to make examples for them. We can't tell them that's too much. You're on that phone too much. You need a break. And we're not leading by example. So that helped us also to like get that in check, and know when to balance that and shut it down, because this is something so new. Like I'm an 80s baby. We grew up, on dirt roads, riding go-karts, riding our bikes. Like we were always outside, and it's just crazy to see and to be living like through that change and that experience. So yeah, it's you definitely just got to find the balance and constantly work on it, because these things are designed to keep us hooked and locked in. Yes. So naturally, you want to stay on there because it's all the things on there that interest you. It's crazy. It's such like a mind.
It is
such a mind.
It's an addiction. It's no different than chocolate or caffeine or drugs or alcohol. It's literally an addiction. And so like having that level of balance is something we all need. And as you alluded to, and you married into, and I did some homework, a Samoan wrestling dynasty. So for those that don't know, please describe what that actually is.
He comes from a legacy of successful wrestlers in his family, which I didn't even know. I didn't even know when I met him. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who was who. But yeah, his fathers. I'm country bumpkin, man. I had never met a Samoan until I met my husband. It was crazy. I was like, what you is? Black? White? Oh, Puerto Rican? He was like, I'm Samoan. Oh, Samoan, what's that? Like The Rock. Oh, okay. But yeah, his dad is a Hall of Famer. His uncle's a Hall of Famer. Just come from a long lineage of wrestlers who's been doing it. He's second generation, and he's currently a tag team champion with his twin brother right now. They're known as the Usos. So yeah, he's making history now on his own as well.
Power couple, and I love and support those. And by the way, when y'all met, he probably didn't know this, that you once was a backup dancer for Flowrider. Tell me about the experience.
No, that was during my dancing days. I was actually dancing for the Magic at the time, and a friend of ours, he did like bookings and gigs and stuff like that, and Flo just happened to be in town, and he had the Ellen show, and it was Spring Bling 2008.
Wow.
And he just needed
Roll back.
he just needed
Roll
yes
back.
Oh, Spring Bling used to be so fun. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we ended up, me and two of the other Magic dancers ended up getting booked, and got to experience that, and that was like one of the most funnest experiences of my career. Getting to do the Ellen show. It was she had a show at like Universal Studios, and then we went down south to do Spring Bling, and it was just cool. Like we're like, what, like 19, I was like 19, 20 years old, and getting to see and perform, with some of like my favorite artists at the time. It was such a cool experience. And then fast forward, and he ended up doing some appearances in WWE. So we ended up bumping into each other again. So it's just funny, like how small, how things come full circle, and how small like the world is. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Especially the entertainment world. And for somebody that has a background in dance and now a great performer in the WWE, a champion, the first Black woman to be a champion. And that's right, I'm saying it with my chest. What do you think makes a
SmackDown champion?
Yes, SmackDown champion.
Because we've had some sisters before me who like Jazz, Jacqueline, who really set the stage and opened those doors for me. So yeah.
I appreciate the way you pay homage. What do you think makes a successful ring persona?
Man.
Or like the qualities to make a WWE alter ego. I'm trying to figure mine out. You had to get into character. Like Clark Kent at some point had to become Superman.
Right.
So what do you think goes into that?
I think the best characters are the ones that are the most genuine to you and who you are. Like The Rock. That's The Rock. Stone Cold. That's him. Like those, to me, the biggest ones are, to me, the realest. Right. And when you can connect with people, that's it. And also you gotta be a great talker and have some good charisma. And then you gotta be able to back it up in the ring.
No question. I appreciate that. And lastly, what advice would you give a young lady who is interested in pursuing a career in the WWE?
I would say go for it, full throttle, 100%. And you may hear 1,000 no's, but as long as you know who you are, you will get through and you can be successful at it. I am a prime example. I was told I wouldn't get far. I was told I wouldn't last 2 weeks. I was told so many disheartening things, but I just always believed in myself. And I think as long as you have that about you, you can be successful at anything.
And that's why you're a superstar, Naomi. But before I let you get out of here, there's some rapid fire questions that I call Gone in
Uh-oh.
60 seconds. You ready to do this?
Let's go.
All right. Obviously, besides your husband, your better half, I'll say that just being a man, I know you dominate and you run the world. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest WWE superstar of all time?
Ooh. Ooh, man, that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
I know. I know. You're a
Like
seasoned vet.
what?
Who else I'm
There's so
gonna
many
ask?
good ones.
Who else I'm gonna ask?
I'm gonna just go with The Rock because he's The Rock. Like it don't get no higher than The Rock. The Rock,
No
John
doubt.
Cena.
No doubt. A lot of us, including Midwesterners, love to go to Florida as snowbirds. So outside of Florida, because you get to live there, what's your favorite vacation spot?
Ooh, gosh, I can't remember. It's a it's a place in Napa, and we only went one time and stayed one night, but it was a ranch, and I can't even remember the name of it because we were literally just in and out and on the road. But it was the most beautiful place I've ever been to, and I can't wait to go back.
I bet
Oh,
you
in
can.
Breckenridge. It wasn't
Oh,
Breckenridge, but that's another
Breckenridge.
spot.
Gotcha.
I like Breckenridge. We went skiing, and I almost freaking killed myself because I didn't know what I was doing, but it was
Yeah,
awesome.
I applaud you for trying. I definitely applaud you for trying because that's definitely a cultural, sport. We don't
Oh
normally
yeah,
participate the colder it get. So I appreciate you
I ain't
trying
have no business out there. I ain't have no business out there. Period. My husband and kids were killing it though. They was like, shh, shh. I was like, how are y'all? I got so upset. I just left the slopes. I had to leave. I was horrible.
Now, if you come from a Samoan wrestling dynasty, plus there are kids involved, I have to ask you this one. Name a Samoan dish everyone should know about.
Oh man, gosh,
Mm.
you're gonna be so mad at me.
Because I know he eating. Uncle
Oh
Hall of
yes,
Famers eating. They eating.
man. Dang, I can't even. Oh man, this is embarrassing. I can't even think of one. His mom comes in town and she cooks us like all the Samoan dishes.
What
And
do
there's
she
one
cook? What is
I
she
can't I
cooking?
can't think of
Is it
the name. Oh,
broth? Is it chicken? Is it beef? Is it
one okay,
seafood?
one is called cocoa rice, but that's not really there's I was trying to think of one with the Samoan name dish and I can't think of it. I'm
Oh,
gonna just say
you're gonna
cocoa
be sleeping
rice.
on the couch. You about
You
to be
already
sleeping on the
know.
couch after this
They about to
interview.
be mad at me, child.
Like we've been feeding you for years and you can't name one dish.
That part. Embarrassing. Horrible.
All right. Who, in your opinion, is the nicest, the kindest current WWE superstar?
Oh man. There's so many. One is the Miz.
Mm.
Um, he's helped me on so many different projects. We got to work on a movie together,
That's
and
dope.
just seeing his work ethic and him kind of like just helping me through that was awesome. Also, another is Rey Mysterio. Like
Mm.
he is one of the biggest superstars of all time, and no matter how big on the roster you are, how small, he always comes and says hello to everybody, gives everybody a hug. Natalia, Serona, these women in the locker room who have just been around, but treat everyone with respect, and it's always love. Kofi
Mm.
Kingston,
Mm.
um, Big E, our current champion. Like I could go on and on. There's so many amazing people that I work with and that I admire and I look up to. So yeah, I'm in good company.
No doubt. And spreading love. And finally, I know you have enough jobs and your husband might not like me asking you this, but I've seen The Rock, Batista, and Andre the Giant all do this. Would you ever consider acting?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I kind of got a little acting bug too when we did a WWE film, the Marine 5. And then once I did that, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Like this is something I would like to be interested in and challenge myself with. So
So
yeah.
you guys heard it here first. When you see her on the silver screen, don't be surprised. She is a superstar. Her name is Naomi. Thank you very much for joining the Renaissance Man.